Hey, so this is a new video in my series, Were the Critics Right About Insert Movie, where I talk about movies that I've recently seen, and I talk comparisons to the Rotten Tomatoes scores and see if the critics were right or wrong. This time, A Dog's Purpose.
What is the meaning of life? Are we here for a reason? Is there a point to any of this? And why does food taste so much better in the trash? This was me, and then this was me. Then I came back as this little guy. A lot of lives for one dog to live, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start at the beginning.
Sitting at a fairly brutal 34%, A Dog's Purpose is the story of the multiple lives of one dog. It basically asserts that every time a dog dies, they're reincarnated into another dog. This specific dog, who is our main character, we follow him through all of his different lives, and we get to see him make connections with different people, and he constantly wonders what's the purpose of life. It's a little jarring when you're watching a friendly dog like playing around and having fun, and you know, what is the purpose of life? I was like, whoa, geez, I don't know how to answer that movie. You can't just throw that on your audience. It takes me out of the movie every time they do it, and thankfully they do let up after the beginning, but at the beginning there's a lot of, but what is the purpose of life? And that was not okay for me. The critics' consensus calls this movie an awkward blend of sugary sentiment and canine suffering that tugs at the audience's heartstrings relentlessly. And I don't think they meant that in a good way. Oh yeah, it says with shameless abandon, that's not a good thing. And while I can say that that is true, that is what the movie is marketed as, and if you're going to this movie, you know that that's what it is. Main issues I thought with the movie that should have been brought up in that consensus, I would have said it's not paced well. There's a ton of cliches, a little bit too much slapstick humor. Those would have been my three main gripes with it. I do see where they're coming from. It does hurt your heart a lot. We brought tissues into the theater so that if anyone started crying, we had those. We did have to use them, by the way. Not for me, I didn't cry much. But the movie does a good job of what it sets out to do. It tells you what a dog's purpose is, so you answer that question, and it gives you the emotion, it gives you the sugary sentiment, which I think those two things are what a lot of audiences are looking for. There's not much I can say about it that's special. There was one segment, one of his lives, that really touched me in particular. It wasn't something that necessarily related to me, but I just found it more emotional than the rest. However, there were like 6 or 7 others that weren't as investing. Overall, I think a 34% is a little harsh. It's not a bad movie per se, it's just not super great. I would have gone for more the 45 to 50% range. Then again, I'm not necessarily this movie's target audience, and I think that its target audience would have gone 80-90% or higher. A lot of people in the theater loved it. My theater actually started clapping afterwards. I didn't really clap with them, but they liked it, so there you have it. So we can say that the critics were slightly off about A Dog's Purpose. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. And as always, remember, steal the show.
I had a new purpose. I was needed again. And again. And again.
Hi, you!
With each new life, I was learning a new lesson. Have we met before?
Where did you find that? Okay, ready? Go!